The Zephyrian fleet descended through the crimson atmosphere of New Terra like metallic vultures, their ships gleaming with the confidence of 1,000 successful conquests. Admiral Vextar stood on the bridge of his flagship, watching the human colony grow larger in the view screen. His mandibles clicked with anticipation. "Such a primitive settlement," he hissed to his second-in-command. 3,000 humans scattered across this backwater moon. They won't even know what hit them. The Zephyrians had conquered 47 worlds in the past decade. Each time the pattern was the same: overwhelming force, swift subjugation, and the transformation of the conquered into a compliant workforce. Their intelligence reports indicated that New Terra was a mining colony, established only 5 years ago by desperate human refugees. No military installations, no defensive satellites, no orbital platforms, just soft, vulnerable humans. Captain Sarah Chen felt the ground vibrate beneath her boots as the alien ships touched down in the valley below the colony. She stood atop the makeshift watchtower, binoculars in hand, counting the vessels. 12 ships, each one easily 3 times the size of their entire settlement. "How many?" asked Marcus Rodriguez, the colony's chief engineer, climbing up beside her. "Enough," Sarah replied grimly. She'd served in the Human Defense Corps before coming to New Terra, fought in the border wars against the Catherian Empire. But those had been human conflicts. This was something else entirely. Down in the valley, the Zephyrian forces began to disembark. Tall, insectoid creatures in gleaming power armor, carrying weapons that hummed with deadly energy. They moved with the methodical precision of a species that had never faced meaningful resistance. "They're not even bothering with a full perimeter," Marcus observed. "They think we're helpless." Sarah lowered her binoculars and smiled. It wasn't a pleasant expression. "Let them think that." The evacuation alarms had been sounding for an hour when the first Zephyrian envoy approached the colony's main gate. The alien stood 7 feet tall, its 4 arms ending in razor-sharp claws, speaking through a translation device in broken standard. "Humans of this place," it announced, "you will surrender immediately. Resistance is futile. Your species is known to us. You are weak." From behind the reinforced walls, Dr. Elena Vasquez stepped forward. The colony's administrator was a small woman with graying hair and kind eyes that masked a brilliant tactical mind. "We appreciate your generous offer," she called back, "but we'll have to decline." The Zephyrian's mandibles clicked in what might have been amusement. "You have no weapons, no defenses? We have scanned your settlement?" "Yes, well," Elena said pleasantly, "there's something you should know about humans. We're very good at making do with what we have." The first explosion came from the mining pits 3 kilometers south of the colony. A chain reaction of carefully placed charges turned the Zephyrian landing zone into a crater filled with molten rock and twisted metal. 4 ships vanished in the fireball. Admiral Vextar stumbled as his flagship shook from the blast. "What was that?" "Unknown detonation in Sector 7, his tactical officer reported, mandibles chittering with concern. "We've lost contact with 4 vessels." Before Vextar could respond, the second phase began. The colonists had spent 5 years mining this moon, digging tunnels and shafts that honeycombed the ground beneath the Zephyrian feet. Now, those tunnels became highways of war. Marcus Rodriguez emerged from a hidden shaft directly beneath a Zephyrian patrol, his modified mining laser cutting through their armor like paper. Behind him came dozens of colonists, miners, engineers, farmers, all carrying tools repurposed for war. The Zephyrians had superior technology, but the humans had something more valuable: desperation and ingenuity. Every piece of mining equipment became a weapon. Ore haulers transformed into battering rams. Industrial solvents became chemical weapons. The fusion reactors that powered the mining operations were rigged to overload on command. Captain Chen led a squad through the maintenance tunnels, emerging behind enemy lines to strike at the Zephyrian command posts. Her team moved like ghosts through their own settlement, using every shortcut and hidden passage they'd carved from the rock. The third explosion took out the Zephyrian communications array, a mining charge, placed with the precision that came from years of blasting through asteroid rock. Without communication, the invading force began to fragment. Admiral Vexistar watched his perfectly planned invasion disintegrate into chaos. These weren't the soft colonists his intelligence had described. They fought like cornered animals, but with the tactical sophistication of a military force. "Sir," his communications officer reported, "we're receiving a transmission from the human administrator." Elena's voice crackled through the static. "Admiral, I believe we need to discuss terms." "Terms?" Vextar snarled. "You are beaten. We have superior numbers, superior weapons." "You had superior numbers," Elena corrected gently. "As of 3 minutes ago, you lost another ship to our mining charges, and I'm afraid your ground forces are experiencing some difficulties." Through the view screen, Vextar could see the truth. His soldiers were trapped in a maze of tunnels and pits, harried by enemies who seemed to appear from the rock itself. The human settlement had become a fortress, every building connected by underground passages, every street a potential killing field. "We came here to mine asteroids," Elena continued. "Do you know what that requires, Admiral? Precision, patience, the ability to crack open something much larger and stronger than yourself. We've been practicing for 5 years." The fourth explosion gutted another Zephyrian ship. The fifth took out their supply depot. By the time the sixth detonation echoed across the valley, Admiral Vextar was already ordering the retreat. The surviving Zephyrian forces limped back to their remaining ships, carrying their wounded and their wounded pride. Of the 12 vessels that had landed, only 4 remained intact enough to achieve orbit. As the alien ships disappeared into the crimson sky, Sarah Chen stood once again atop her watchtower. Marcus joined her, his mining laser slung across his shoulder. "Think they'll be back?" he asked. Sarah shrugged. "If they are, we'll be ready. We've got a lot more tunnels to dig." Down in the settlement, Elena was already planning the defenses for next time, because there would be a next time. There always was. But the Zephyrians would spread word throughout the galaxy about the human colony that had turned a peaceful mining operation into a military disaster. The humans of New Terra had learned something important that day. Sometimes the greatest weapon isn't technology or numbers. Sometimes it's simply the refusal to lie down and die. The universe was about to learn why humanity had survived long enough to reach the stars.